So why don't we start with Atlanta, and we're gonna go and give Connor this one because it's kind of his area of expertise.
Just kind of my area, just a little bit. All right, so just taking a look at some of the preseason games that they played, obviously before they had to start off with CONCACAF. So they started off with a 4-0 win against Philly. Obviously great to start off the preseason that way. But, it's early for both teams. It's kind of easy to just be like to just brush it off and say like, "Oh, it's first game, the maybe Philly wasn't at their best." So then I guess it's important to look at the other games. So they played against Elfsberg, which I'm assuming is like a Norwegian team, and they got a 1-1 draw against them, and followed that up with a 3-2 win against Birmingham, and then losing on penalties to Leones Negros, which is not great, but so that led them up into their CCL games. But I think we wanted to look at the off season for them, and this was definitely a huge off season for them, and one that probably scared a lot of the fans just because they lost a lot of their core beloved members of the team, like guys that were there for the beginning. And I feel like any off season where you lose the guys that you had from the start of the franchise, that's always a tough one for the fans. And losing guys like Gressel and LGP and Fialba, that's gonna definitely hurt on the surface. But I think that they've made good signings to replace them and kind of build on that. And I think that the one that's really going to hurt the most is Gressel, just because one, they got rid of him to not only another team within MLS, but a rival. I don't want to see DC get a Gressel. He's a really important player to us, and now you just strengthened an opponent. But LGP and Villalba obviously left the league, and they'll hurt a little bit, but I think that they can ultimately replace those contributions to the team. And I think that bringing in guys like Brooks Lennon and Meza, Mulroney, Jan, Rossetto, Castro, these are going to be guys that could really help step up and fill those holes and also build upon something that I was a little bit concerned with them in terms of their depth. I think that it'll be nice for them to build on that and just have more guys, more bodies that could come in if guys get injured. Because obviously, as you know, going into their CCL game, they were pretty banged up. Like they were kind of short on players, but I think they had enough guys that they were able to throw a decent enough team out there to get a result. So I think that um, those guys will kind of find their place within the starting 11 or on the bench, having some role within the team. And then as long as you have Yosef, PT, and Barco up top, I mean, there's no question that their attack's going to be great for them. If those guys can stay healthy, I think now that they have more time to kind of learn how to play with each other, I think the chemistry is going to be a lot better and the attack's going to be super deadly. So that's going to be a given. So as long as the midfield and defense can kind of uh, get themselves together, they can really push Atlanta to be a strong team and maybe even like a supporter shield competitor. But if they can't get things together and there's chemistry problems or injury problems, then there might be a chance that Atlanta could take maybe another step back from last year.
Yeah, no, I think those are a lot of really, really good points there. Things that I like, I think I mentioned this both to you guys yesterday, but I think talking about those guys who came in, first of all, you guys signed a ton of people, which I was about to um, liken the off season of Atlanta to the off season of RBNY, losing a ton of people that the fans love, and it'll be tough to replace them. But then you also went out and actually signed people, so I can't really say. Um, However, I mentioned this to you yesterday. And watching them play in CCL. Um, I thought it was really, really good to see Jan step out and make a really big impact. I thought he was really good up there, and I think he's going to play a really big role there. But you make a good point, right? Not only did you lose fan favorites, you also lost three of the top seven rated players last year, according to WhoScored.com, which is a stat website essentially for those of you who don't know. And all of those players made at least 30 appearances. So not only are you replacing people who were good, but also who were versatile and played a lot of games.
I mean, at the same time, I feel like when they came in to the league, they had kind of a game plan of bringing certain guys in. They wanted to fit a certain style of play, and now in Frank de Boer's next year, like this season, he's gotten to know the guys a little bit better, and he's gotten to kind of impose his say on the guys coming in and guys coming out. So I think if anyone, as far as managing goes, I think he'll be the one to kind of bring everyone together. I mean, I still think they'll be arguably the strongest team in the East.
Yeah, I agree there.